All right. Hello everybody. If you see Parametric Design, please raise your hands. If you see Parametric Design, please raise your hands. That's the way I know you can hear me. Well, most people can hear me. I'm hoping we're all set. I expect we are. If there's any questions, let me know. Hey, Colin. All right. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. All right, now let me back this over here so we can get it. Always wants to pop it over there a little bit. Put everybody's hands on. We're going to talk. I know Mr. Dutoy was getting through Inkscape, but there's some things I want to go into a greater depth than he did. And one of them I want to make sure we explain and we know the difference. We use parametric design. We need to use cloning and what that means. And then we're going to talk about paths and objects tonight. First, I want to remind you, if you normally have a Thursday lab, your lab is tomorrow night. It's on Tuesday. So we're really going to get in the thick and thin of making our infinity mirrors, actually. I think you're going to enjoy it. All right, let's talk about copy versus duplicate versus clone. And I'm really just working on this right now because I want you to. All right, so let me just put these notes up here. Copy works most of the time. Copy and paste, I should say. Copy and paste works most of the time. But not all the time. But you can't necessarily, you can't use it if you want to use the path commands. Can't use if you want to use path commands. And I'll show you. So path commands, if we go into Inkscape, are these commands right here. So here's different page shapes I was doing. Path is union, difference, intersection, exclusion, division, cut path. There's all kinds of things we'll be doing here. See, these commands don't work with copy and paste, but they do work with duplicate. Work with path commands. All right, they work with path commands. The original changes the pasted items in both these cases. So most of the time, but you can't use it when you want to use the path commands, because when you see a circle or square in there, believe it or not, while you and I see a circle or square in there when we're in Inkscape, the computer really sees lines of code. And when you copy and paste it, it actually adds some more data to that line of code, which messes it up. So that's why. All right. Most of the time, but you can't use it. You want to use path commands. Duplicate works with path commands. That's the one to use. It can be a little bit strange because you don't always see it. We'll show you an example between a copy and a duplicate, but sometimes they duplicate right on top of each other. The last one is clone. And what's cool about that is original changes all the clones change. All right, so you got copy. This does not happen. All right, copies, the duplicates do not change. If original changes, we'll put it up there so it's really clear to everybody. Original, all the duplicates do not change. Do not change. We'll say if original changes. And this is an important difference, guys. Putting this in here for everybody right now. I'm just teaching it, and I think this is a better way to explain for what we're going to do up next. So if you want to use path commands, if original changes, all the paste do not change. All right, now we'll come back and clean that up better. Why Mr. Dubik even bringing this up? One of the things we can do with our laser cutter is we want to introduce this concept of parametric design, and you need to understand that difference right off the bat to start getting parametric design. I'll make this this code a little bit bigger so it's easier to read. All right. All right. So, delete that one up. Let's clean this up a little bit while we're here. All right. Duplicate works with path commands. So why do we do this? Remember we said something about parametric designs and slot fit. You can put it into pieces of wood. What's great to do with a laser cutter, well, wait a minute. Is nobody hearing me? Oh, okay, got everybody hearing me. Good. What's great to do with a laser cutter is cut these things out and slot them together. You make a lot of really cool things. We do that a lot in the summertime. You can make, spaceships, skulls, little chest boxes. These are all slot design, got slot fit design components to it. But here's the problem you have. What happens if your slot has to be tight enough to hold together, but not so tight so you can't fit it in there, or not so loose it falls apart. So it's a fine where you need to be. And say on a piece of cardboard, this is 0.13. However, go over and you say to you, wait a minute, that needs to be made out of 1/4 inch plywood, so that's 0.24. Well, I change this by 0.24. Not only does the slot get bigger to 0.24, the whole box gets bigger. So we want to be able to just change the slot. All right, so the way we're going to do that is I'm going to demonstrate something first by copy and pasting it. Then I'm going to demonstrate what a duplicate does. And then I'm going to demonstrate what a clone does. Okay? Might not be the most fascinating thing, but this is a powerful tool you can use for other projects. So please, I hope you stay with me. So we're going to all get Inkscape open. I'm going to do File, New here. All right. Let's go through this. Well, your Inkscape's coming up. Go to Document Properties. Let's make sure we always put this in inches so we can use it in the laser cutter. This way, when you come into class, the lab, and you want to do something, maybe we weren't planning on, you just want to make something on the laser cutter, you can do that. I'm trying to avoid spending lab time teaching this. Do it now, and then that way you can come right in and use things when you want them. All right. So let's do, I'm going to look at copying and duplicating here. All right, if I grab that option, notice it looks like this. It's got the corners and circle. That's a rectangle, and it has those corners, so I can change the angle, so I can, round the edges off that. I'm gonna make it 0 now, though. Okay. If I do cut and paste, I can do Edit. And by the way, I made the thickness purposely thicker. If it was a laser cutter, the thickness needs to be 0.0001. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Under Fill and Stroke, I'm going to try to move this farther over. Let's go over here. Stroke style always needs to be 0.01. I'm making it point. If I do 0.1 like you need to really do on the laser cutter, this gets to become much harder to see. See, you can't hardly see it. So that's why I'm doing it 0.1. It's just simply for the webinar, you can see what we're doing. All right, so that is a rectangle. I do edit, copy, like you do like a word processor, edit, paste. And up there, it shows up over here. So I'm going to take it, move it over here. All right, the first one is a copy and paste. Now, what's interesting in this is many times that works fine, but sometimes it will not. And what I mean by that, and we talked about this a second ago, see these path commands? Copy and paste doesn't work with that. Well, sometimes it will, sometimes don't. Because when you look at the code here, remember when we see a rectangle here, we think we see a rectangle drawn here. Really, the computer is a little bit of code written here. And when you have copy and paste, it makes some new code. Whereas if I take the same square, let me go over here, and I do a duplicate, boom. Now, the problem with duplicating, it always happens. You go, well, where's the duplicate? Believe it or not, it's right on the top. And you'll see it because there it is. Now, the duplicate, right like this, well, that duplicate does not contain. It is truly identical. That's why it's built right over the top of it. It is identical in every way. Paste is not really identical. It's close. Many times it'll work. But when you want identical, use duplicate. All right? Now let me see if there's any questions there. Okay, good. All right. Everybody's saying they're ready and they're going. All right. Let's see. If your box is filled in with blocks, Liam, go ahead and change your fill to 0. Click on that X here with your fill. All right? Click on that little X right there. Select the box. I don't have any fill. That's why mine all have X. If I do this, you're going to suddenly go a new color. I'm getting rid of it, though. All right, now, so this is copy and paste. Similar, very close. 99% of the time we'll be fine. But certain things like the path functions, it's got to duplicate it. And then finally, we're going to do a clone of this. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to hit Edit. I'm going to hit Clone. I'm going to create tiled clones. And up it comes. Move that over this way a little bit. Get rid of this so we can see what we're talking about. Look at this. It says 2 by 2 create. I'm going to create them. Now they're right there. And so remember we just said they're, so here it is. Move it right here. And I could have just done one, by the way. I don't need to make 2 of these. In fact, let's simplify this in the beginning. Let's just do that. I'm going to go ahead and just delete that. I'm going to do my clones. Okay. So let's just make a clone. I'll keep it simplified. Click on this. Edit. Clone it. Create a clone. Boom, there it is. Notice, like duplicate, it's right on top. It's identical. Now, here's where clone is cool. So can you all do that for me right now? Do a copy and paste. Now I'll show you why it's cool in a moment. Duplicate this and make a single clone. Raise your hand once you've done that. All right. All right. You've done it. Good. Raise your hand if you've done it. I got all the hands up there. I want to make sure. Once you've got all 4, raise your hands. 3, I should say. You make your original rectangle, then you do it. Okay, let me go ahead and do this. Nice. Still got some more people. Come on, Mateo. Let's finish this up. Philip. Go on, Joshua. Caleb. Anybody who's not gotten it done, let's get these done. I will wait here, though. I don't want to over push you. It's 8:17. Let's give you 8:20 to get that done. All right, good. You're almost done. That's great. All right. Now, raise your hand. You got these hands up? We got most everybody. We can get going now. Watch this, folks. This was the pasted item. This is the duplicate item. This is the clone. See how the clone changes? Ooh, cool. See that? That clone, and I can do this. I can take this. Now let's do clone tile, which is what I basically did last time. If I do this, clone it and create a tile clone set, 2 by 2, create it, say. So remember, I did this, and there's symmetry, and you can scale, and you can do all kinds of just, we could spend a whole semester doing nothing more with Inkscape. All right, we're not going to, but there it is. So remember, the original stays on the bottom, which will throw you through us in the beginning. All right, so there's my original. I'm going to put that up over here. Oh, I want to put that in the center. I just moved the rotation X. Didn't mean to do that. Okay. All right. Now, watch this. When I do this now, they all change. So it can be really pretty cool. And I'll show you why this is cool. So see how I've got this one, change like that, change like this, they all get smaller. All right. And then you can take these 4 boxes right here, which I want everybody to do. We're going to move them over like this. Let's give them enough room so we can play with this. If I go draw another box here, then it's kind of quick, so it's not lined up. Perfect. And I group these objects. Watch this, shift. It's like that one too, this one, and this one. And do object group. I can clone that. So say I go over here. All right. And then I say, okay, let's do edit, clone, create a clone tile set. I'm going to create 4 of those. So big, they're taking up half the screen, right? Here's 1. So you can kind of see the point of this. Here's 2. The original's underneath me. 3, 4. Watch this. They all change. This is powerful. This is parametric, beginning of concept of parametric design. And you know, they, instead of using in one object, this key like this, they'll give a variable name, and then you just change that variable. Here's also something else that's cool. All of them changed. These changed here, and then it changed in all the other parametric designs. So go ahead. It's 8:22 now. Take a few minutes to do that. See if you can play with this parametric designing. You don't if your project doesn't require you cloning it, don't worry about cloning it and doing things. But for something that's complicated, this can really save you a lot of time. Because remember what parametric design does. It allows you to avoid this problem. Here I am. I need to change the scale of this. If I make this thicker here by just expanding it, grabbing it, pulling it apart, the whole box has got to get bigger. When I just want to change one of these, if there's the size, make these each a clone of this, and all you have to do is change the clone there, which will allow you to get to, at this point, this. I can change any one of these items here, and all the others automatically reflect the change. It's a really powerful tool. All right, let me go ahead and put Inkscape back up. You're trying to work on it, and I'm talking. That probably isn't the most helpful thing. Okay, I'm going to put everybody's hands. When you've got that working, raise your hand for me, okay? That way I know once people understand this. All right, we've got about half and half not, so let's take a few more minutes with it. Sometimes when you clone these and you change them, the symmetry might be off, like when this scales this one. When, of course, this one all worked out, but if circular, use these objects right here. You sometimes have to rotate the object, so if down the road that's happening to you, go ahead and use those. All right, leave your hands up, guys. Once you have it, so you can see what we got going here. All right, we got just about everybody doing it. Good job, good turnout tonight, folks. So that's one thing you do with this. We're going to come back to these objects and paths here in a little bit. All right, now here's something else. Well, I'll give you another moment. All right. Okay, now let's go ahead. We got most everybody here. Great, I'm putting everybody's hands down. Now, let's do the next thing. Sorry, we'll get that one. All right, now. All right, so now let's do this next thing here. Again, file new. I keep just good practice. When we go view, we're going to go back to document properties. Remember, always go in here and make this inches here, 30 by 20 because that's our laser cutter. Inches here. All right. Now, I'm going to take this box. All right. And I'm taking another box. Say I wanted to draw something where really what I want is, there's the size of my Raspberry Pi. And in it, I want to put another shield on there. And I'm going to put it right on the side, something like this. All right, now, sorry that's coming up on that click. All right, sorry about that. All right, now the notifications come up. So you've got one here and here. If I cut this with a laser cutter, what I'll get is I'll cut one whole rectangle here and another rectangle here. I won't get what I want. And that's a problem. So what do I do to save this? Well, this is going to come down on a feature of using paths, an object to path. Let's talk about what objects are. Objects are any of these things right here, and they include a path. So notice, look at this rectangle right here. I'm just going to move this one out of here so we can demonstrate what we're doing. See this rectangle right here? If I click on the rec icon, you'll see it's got width, x, height, and then rx, ry, that we use for rounding corners, softening things. Something we do a lot when we make things. But it's really a piece of code. Notice there's 3 squares there. Now, let me go to this rectangle, same rectangle, we just made it a second ago. Notice when I, same thing, 3 rectangles before. But watch when I do this to it. If I take that piece of rectangle, go up to path, you can do object to path. Now, when I click on this, watch what it does. 1, 2, 3, 4 nodes. As opposed to this one, it's still a rectangle. It's 1. And really, it's only 1 node. These are something altogether different. These are 3 nodes. So this path, this is now a path, and this is still a rectangle object. So this is a path object, rectangular object. Any questions so far? Oh, and I'll tell you, someone missed. How do you duplicate? How did you create only 1 clone? Raise your hands, stick them up here, raise your hands. Let me show you the clone there. I just all of a sudden looking at my questions, I didn't see them, I apologize. Before we go any further, let's just stop. We'll come back to this in just 1 second. When I'm in, if I want to clone this, let me make another rectangle so you can see it. I'm going to, come on. If I wanted to clone this, I just go to Edit, where duplicate is, right, honestly where your copy is, right? Then there's duplicate, and then there's clone. If I want to make 1 clone, I hit create clone. If I want to make multiple clones, I hit there. I hope that answered everybody's questions there. I'm going to make sure there's no other questions I'd somehow miss. I saw Liam's in here, and he got his working. Did that get everybody? Hands are right over in your little control bar over there. You'll see it right there. Where's the object to path object? Go under paths. Object to path. Shift Control C, by the way, too. So I'm going to take this one. I'm going to hit Shift Command C. Let me go here. Because I'm using a Mac and different keyboard, I'm just going to use this guy. Object to path. I know I've got it. If I did it, if I do it, it'll be 4 corners here. 1, 2, 3, 4. As opposed to this one, which says 4, 2, because it's also object to path. As opposed to this one, that isn't. It really only has 1, and these are corners that help tell you it's a rectangle. Now, here's the cool part of this. If I take this and I put it right here, again, as it stands right now, laser cutter would cut out this square and this square, or my other mill or any other piece of equipment that uses vectors. But if I now convert them both the path objects, and then I go to path union, look at that. Now the laser cutter is going to do exactly what we wanted here. If I hit this with this, there they are. So let's do it together again. I'm going to do it on this one here. I'm going to say, here's this rectangle. Let's see if it's still a rectangle. I want to make sure it's a rectangle or not. It is. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so we can, I'm going to move this one off the screen so you can see it. Move this one over here. Okay. Now, make it bigger. Okay. If I wanted to do another one, I can. Or if I want to do a duplicate, if I want to use this command, remember, I'm going to use duplicates if I make it. Now, in this case, I'm not duplicating because I'm just going to draw another one here. And I'm actually going to take a circle. All right. Let's take a look at these. What are these? These are both. That's a rectangle. That's a circle. Now, once it converts that circle to path, object to path, take this one up here, object to path, grab both, go to path, union. There it is. Okay? Looks like a puzzle piece. Go ahead, do that. All right? Raise your hand once you've gotten it done. Go ahead and try it. Let's try 840 here, 841. Raise your hand once you've got it to work, and I will gladly show you all again how to do this. I got a fair number of people. I'm going to ask now, too, if we could. How's my pacing? Usually I like to do this a little bit faster. All right, we're 81% voted. 4, 3, 2, 1. And let's share results. There we go. I'm going to hide those. 81-19. All right. Okay. Pull this over here because I don't want to. All right. Now, let me just show it for people again who's maybe struggled a little bit with that. Take this rectangle. Excuse me. Get a rectangle here. I'm just going to make one here with a rectangle. I've never done a star, so we'll try that this time. That's still a rectangle, so I messed something up there. Okay, let's do this. All right, go to star. I'm going to make this, convert this to a path. I'm going to convert this to a path. Path, object to path. So I'm going to take this. We'll do this little shape like this. Kind of curious how this is going to come out. Grab them both. And then I'm going to do a union. There, it came out pretty poorly. There it is. But that's how you do a union with this. Now, watch this. If I do the same rectangle again, and I want to cut a piece out of this rectangle, say I want to take a little circle, I'm going to nibble out of this thing. Well, again, back up to make this an object to path. The order matters here. Object to path. In other words, if this is the tool that's going to cut up that tool, the tool gets made last. So I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to select them both. And then I can use path. And I hit difference. And there it's gone. Chopped it right up. Go ahead and try doing that. Key on it. Show again. Happily. Watch. I'm going to take my rectangle. I'm going to take another one right here. If you think about it, it makes sense, the tool's got to disappear. So there's my rectangle. I'm going to immediately convert it object to path because that's what I'm going to do with this. It will sometimes work as a rectangle and you can do it. But we found that if you want to cut things up better, it's better to convert it to a path. Sometimes you can make it a rectangle and just simply use your tool. But we have found, for the most part, this works better. Then I'm using this star this time. I'm going to make the star, I'm going to chop something out of the star, move it over here, and I'm going to convert that object to path. Because I made the star second, it's going to be the tool. Then I select both of them and hit difference. Okay? Using a star really doesn't seem to make a lot of sense in this, but there you go. Put everybody's hands down. When you can do that difference command, go ahead and do that for me, please. All right. All right, there we go. Sorry, we're getting a text. All right, now. Now, let me close this. So, let me get that close. All right, raise your hand once you've done those things, guys. I've got half of you with your hand raised. And then we're going to talk then. But remember, say if you want to make, I'm going to show you how you might make a tab that would make sure everything worked well for you. Give you a couple more minutes. I'd rather... All right. Guys, Abigail, Hannah, let's get this done. Mateo, William, if you got these, that way I know we're not wasting your time or ours. Now, it looks like now we have just about everybody. Now let me show you this. Let me get all these out of here. Delete these. Say you have a rectangle, and this is actually tab boxes. This is what we do with it. Say you have this rectangle. All right? And I want to cut something. I'm going to cut another, create a rectangle to cut this out. But I want to make them all identical. So here's a rectangle. I'm going to make this thing width 0.13. Height. Well, there's a problem. I'm going to make the width a little bit higher when you would really make it. My rectangles are too small here. So just for the sake of argument's sake, I'm making it 0.25, right? And it's the right height and everything here. I'll make it even a little wider. I'm going to get 0.4 or 5, just so you can see it. This is only just so you can see it. All right, and say that's the height, and I want to line this up right against here to cut it. I'm making these into tabs. And I get the tab. Remember when we use the, watch this, you take this, and you go up to Object, Line and Distribute. I can put it on the outside of this wall. Well, there it is on the inside. Whoops, just did the wrong one. Last selected, that's why I did that. Let's try. Let's see if this works better. Yeah, that's not. Let's try this again. Oops, did the wrong one. Select this one, and I'm going to put it on the outside wall. There it is. All right, and you can line it up there. I'm going to move it in a little bit. Or I wanted to join this. So I wanted to join it. I'm putting that right there. I want to make another one. I'm going to union. One thing you need to know. Object. Remember, we're going over here. Object to path. Object to path. But if you're going to duplicate that one and put it down here, or make it, don't copy and paste it. Do edit, duplicate. You're going to find that works a lot better. So let's take a look at this. So there's 4 dots. You might not be able to see it on the small screen. These each have 4 dots. They're each rectangles. Don't use the copy and paste command here. It doesn't always work. So as a general rule, we use it for duplicate. Because then I can do this with this. Let's go ahead and mark. All right, go like this. Object. Path. We hit union. All right. Now, that didn't really work, did it? I don't believe so. I guess it did. It's on the red line there, but it's not really great. Try that again. Delete this out. Yeah, middle union. Here we go. Rectangle. Path. I'll do another rectangle right here. Object to path. Take that. What I'm trying to do is if I do this, path, union. There it is, it's a union. See how that looked different in the last one? We can still use 2 squares. I know. Here's the thing, you got to undo the union. So if I take this one, you could do copy, and it might work. But we do discover that if we do a duplicate, they generally work better in this. Now we're not lining this up at all, but I'm going to do this. Path, union. Well, you got to do this one at a time. Stop time. Here. What? Someone deleted it. Fat finger to Mr. Dubek. One there. Shift, one here. To path, union. This one here. This one here. When you union, the order doesn't matter. It's when you cut with them. Make sure you do the tools the last thing you do. And so now I didn't want to do it. So I'm going to make sure it's something I've done wrong. Object to path. There it is. Make sure you convert it. All you got to, even when you duplicate, you got to convert it back to object to path. Okay? This makes sense? Anybody have a question on this? And now you could duplicate this. So now what you could do is you could go down here, draw a bigger box, and then you could do something like this. Edit, duplicate it, because this is the latest thing you made. It'll be on top of this other one. I'm going to rotate this over. Wrong way. There we go. Make this into a path. Object path. Hopefully this will do like this. path difference. There it is. And you can start making tab boxes this way. In fact, that's what we're going to do Wednesday. Go over on how to do this. It's a powerful thing. It really, really is. And it's a great way for you to use that laser cutter to make shapes. So this will cut out. If this is if you made this 0.001, this will cut out exactly the shape you want, which would fit exactly into this shape. Generally, you make your tabs the thickness of the cardboard. You would not make them this wide. It'll stick through the cardboard. All right? I think enough of doing this. I have all my students do this before I let them really use the laser cutter by themselves. Is how to use tabs. All right? Any questions here? Last few minutes, go ahead and see if you can do that. All right. Any other questions as you're getting this? Also, once these things become object of paths, then you can start adding nodes and really changing things up. You can pull things out. You have a more artistic bend than clearly I have. All right. If there's no more questions, let's just do a couple polls. Just remember, we have lab. If you're a Thursday lab person, you have lab tomorrow. That's 7 o'clock. Let's go through this. Did you come to the last webinar? Your numbers are good, guys. Well done. Most people are coming. We have one person looks like they're being honest, they've missed. Future, try to make everyone you can. We are on the playlist. So I hope you're using the playlist. It'll let you know, like when I load this up later tonight or early tomorrow morning. Okay, I'm going to hide the results. Last thing. How'd you enjoy this webinar? All right, we're at 88%. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 60-40. I know it's great, okay. Some people think, why did I have to spend all this time in Inkscape? It's really about using the laser cutter. Using this will help you figure out how to use the laser cutter. Okay? Close that poll. I wish you all a good night and have a great Tuesday. See you tomorrow night for those who got lab. All right, bye.